morning, South Acres High School. Those of you watching far and beyond, we hope everyone's doing fantastically this morning. It is Tuesday, April, I believe, 21st. So we are rocking and rolling, and it is a fantastic time to be doing so. Curious, folks, what have you been up to during quarantine? We do have some information from Mr. Pernich. He has built his own alarm clock. He's going to show you that right now. He's going to unmute and start talking about this fun little guy he just put together to show you. Go ahead.
So this is what I spent my time doing yesterday. This is one of the projects that some of my robotics kids would be doing if they were in class right now. But it's just a soldering project, so it's practice and learn soldering. And it like this.
Oh, your background just swallowed your alarm clock.
Oh no, my bad.
Don't break the silhouette. So what we're looking at is how many LEDs soldered together?
That's a good question. See, it's 4x4x4.
Oh, don't ask me to do
I'm out
that.
of school. I'm not in school anymore.
Okay, 4 times 4 is 16 times
64.
4 is 64, and that's all anode, cathode, directional, and everything, right?
Yep.
That's fantastic. All right, well, thank you for sharing that with us. We also have big news, folks, that the yearbooks are sold out. We are unable to order any more. So it looks like those of you that wanted to get in there and get those yearbooks got them. Those of you that didn't, and that's a big bummer. Welcome to the show. If you or someone you know are interested in serving on student government, Mr. Pernich is throwing the link into the live chat. Remember, you can ask us questions at southvote.com or right there in the live chat, and we will get to those questions as we can during the show. Real quick, we got a special guest today. Please welcome Mr. John Ebron, the Teen Services Librarian from the Anchorage Public Library System, to let us know of some of the assets available to us during quarantine high school. John, welcome to the show. Go ahead and unmute yourself, and you're going to take over.
Hi, everybody. My name is John. I'm the Teen Services Librarian for Anchorage Public Library. I have to repeat that because they pay me and I'm on auto. So I'm basically here, as it was said, just to tell you about some of the awesome stuff that Anchorage Public Library has for you guys. And it's mostly fun stuff. I like to talk about the fun stuff, and because, I mean, why else would I have this job if it wasn't fun? I'm first going to talk about, I'm just going to assume you guys don't know what we already have, so I'm just going to talk about the normal stuff we offer, and then I'm going to go into the stuff we added temporarily, specifically for the COVID-19 hunker down situation we're currently in. One of the big ones that I love to talk about is Hoopla. This is the part where if I'm doing this in person, I have everyone yell out Hoopla because Hoopla's just fun to say. So everybody say Hoopla, just scare your neighbors. Hoopla!
Hoopla!
I'm going to assume, I'm not near the South Side, so I'm going to assume that you all just did it. So yeah, Hoopla is kind of like Netflix in a lot of ways. It's an online streaming service that has access to movies and TV shows, but along with that, what makes it different from Netflix is that it also has ebooks, audiobooks, graphic novels, and CDs, or not CDs, full albums of music that you can temporarily check out via the magic of the internet. And so you don't have to worry about due dates, not like we're worried about due dates right now, but you download it, and it magics off your computer after the allotted time. I'm not going to bore you with all the information about how long you have and all that, because you can easily find that yourselves, guys, on our website under where it says downloadables. That's where all the stuff I'm going to tell you about today is. And Hoopla is really awesome because unlike a lot of other ebook stuff, I'm not going to bore you with licensing, information about copyright and who's getting paid and what money is changing hands. But the way it works with Hoopla is anyone, like an entire class of 36 kids, could check out the same exact ebook, and there's no wait list. There's no holds. There's no, I'm waiting for this person to magically check it back in kind of garbage. It's just like we all get it at the same time. You could all watch the same movie, all watch the same TV show. It's pretty awesome, and it works great on for graphic novels on tablets because you can do one cell at a time. So I always talk about Hoopla because it's just amazing. Everybody say Hoopla.
Hoopla.
I'm going to assume you all. I'm just going to assume you all said Hoopla.
We all said Hoopla, and I do have a question for you real quick. So in
Shoot.
this system, and I know you're going to get into it, but you mentioned that it's on tablets. You mentioned they can watch it on laptops. I'm assuming they can access it via some smart TV technology. But the question then becomes, so on the website, underneath downloadables, I think you said, underneath downloadables, are there directions on whether or not they need an app, how they get access as far as in membership, or is there a number that they currently have without even knowing it that gets them access to this material?
I'm glad you asked that question. So I think it was like 6 years ago. Well, first off, I feel like everyone should have an Anchorage Public Library card. Like it just should come standard.
I feel like
Windows.
everyone should respect, the third comma, but no
Yeah,
one.
I know. I mean, it's one of those things where like, yeah, I should have it, but I should also eat right and exercise. Like, so if you don't already have an Anchorage Public Library card, if you are a member or a student in the Anchorage School District, I think it was like 6-7 years ago now, Anchorage Public Library, Anchorage School District, we partnered together to make it so your parents, when they signed you up online or registered you online, they could check a box and you could use your student ID number, that whole, not just the 7 digits you use for getting into things and accessing accounts, like the full 14-digit monstrosity that some may or may not know. And you use that number as a library card. That will give you full access to all of our digital streaming and downloadable content, including our databases.
And Hoopla.
And Hoopla, yes. So it gives you access to all of that stuff, along with giving you the ability to check out 3 physical items from any Anchorage Public Library. That last one's not really applicable right now, but everyone in the ASD should have access.
That's
fantastic. At least
fantastic.
one library card.
So if they check that box, their student ID should be their library number for any downloadable content. Is there somewhere they can go if, let's say, they didn't check that box, not expecting they'd be stuck at home forever, needing materials like that? Or is that something that's an ASD question?
They could get a library card issued to them online via the website. There is a link on the landing page of the website. I think it's the first one, like right under the banner. It will say, get a library card. You follow the links there and you just like enter the information, and then I was gonna say boom, but it's not really a boom, it's more like a click noise. And then you're in our system. And once you're in our system, you are able to do the things.
That is fantastic.
If you have any further questions, like if you're having a difficulty with your library card, or if you're not quite sure that your library number that you're used to using is the right number, just call us up. I mean, I'm working from home. My whole team's working from home. We have some people, we have our IT departments, a phone call away. So call us or email us via Ask a Librarian. That's also available. All the information is also available at the very bottom of the landing page on the website under Contact Us, and we'll pick up.
That's fantastic. So beyond Hoopla, what are some of the other assets that you guys have instituted that we may not have known about, that have been there for a while, or that are there now that we can access and utilize?
Well, one that's really good is, it's another one that has has ebooks and audiobooks on it, and that's Overdrive. That's one that I think a lot of the school district also has access to through school libraries. So the good thing about that is it functions the same exact way, except it's a different library. So you have access, if you have both library cards, you have access to 2 different libraries. So if the ASD doesn't have access to that ebook or audiobook, we might. And if not, you can always send us a patron request, which is like, hey, I like this book, you don't have it, go get it for me. And we're like, all right, cool. Because why would we not? We love giving people things. So that's really good. Other than that, I would have to say Freegal. These are like the top 3, so Overdrive, Hoopla, and Freegal. And Freegal's fun because Freegal literally stands for free and legal. It's free and legal music. And with Freegal, you get 5, no, we upped it. It's up to, I think it's 7 downloads a week. So you can get seven separate songs downloaded a week. And notice I said download, not borrow. What you get off Freegal, you get the key. That downloads onto your computer or your phone. I always say computer. And then you can transfer it to whatever digital devices you want. But that downloads onto your computer, and then you have it forever, free and legal. It's a huge I think it's Sony's catalog, but it's a huge catalog with music videos, numerous albums, karaoke albums too. So if you want, you can just make your own cover of things. And the list is everything from like Barbra Streisand to Kodak Black. Like it's I can't list all the people who are on there. I always just advise people to just scroll through, explore, check it out.
Well,
same with Hoopla, actually.
Well, and I mean, it sounds like this is something where you could literally dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down in Freegal Rock, right? I'm sorry, I had to put that in there.
I might steal that for my next in-person outreach.
Children of the 80s, we have problems.
Those are the big three. Another one I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, just because it's a really good resource and I've been using a lot since I've been working from home, is lynda.com. You also have access to that with your library card. Lynda.com, it's the equivalent to YouTube tutorials, except they're taught by professionals in their field. So you could learn everything from like how to film a video, how to do proper lighting, how to master Excel, how to do time management, which really helped me because I was just sitting, last week I think I was just sitting here in my pajamas eating potato chips when I should have been like working. But after that, now I'm better. I'm wearing an actual shirt, y'all, that happened. So it's just a wonderful resource for anything you want to teach yourself that you might not be learning anywhere else. And right now we all have a bunch of time to pick up new skills. And yeah, it's really awesome. I like lynda.com a lot. That's a good one that, again, another resource you have access to with your library card, so you don't have to worry about paying any fees because we pay for it for you.
Wow.
So those are just those are like the big four I wanted to talk about that we already offered. On top of that, we added a bunch of temporary resources to kind of help us through these tough times. One of them is Pressreader. And I remember reading an email about this a couple of weeks ago that we are going to get this. So I was really excited that it's already up on the website. So you guys can just pop into it right after I'm done talking. And Pressreader gives free access to like over 3,000 magazines and 4,000 newspapers. So if you want to read Vogue, Jet Magazine, something, whatever, you have access to it through that. We also have one that's a ebook collection that's specifically for romance. There's an ebook collection specifically for teen books. Pretty much we're just going around and grabbing a bunch of new resources and making them available to our patrons. For me, specifically teen patrons, because that's my age group that I work with. That's my bread and butter, my life, my love, and my lady. Take that to see. It knows what it did. And making it available to you guys because, I mean, that's what we do. We make information available to our patrons. That's what we love. So those were the big things I wanted to talk about. Along with that, we did make it so we could add more checkouts. Normally Hoopla has, I think, 8 checkouts a month for all your things you check out there. We've added a few more checkouts. I think we bumped it up to 10 per patron, and that's per card. So if you have a library card through us and through the ASD, you could have 2 Hoopla accounts. Yeah, that's pretty much all the major things I wanted to talk about. If there were any questions, this would be the time.
Do we have questions, folks? Now that we have been talking about all these different opportunities, we are going to take it to the board to see if we have questions.
Sorry, I'm hitting with a lot. We have a lot to offer, so it's...
So anyone that's joining us here today from the crew, do you have questions about what is available to you via Hoopla or Overdrive or Press, what is it? Press what?
It's called Pressbook.
Pressbook.
Pressreader.
Pressreader and Freegal. So it looks like we got something. Savannah, go for it.
Is there like an age limit for the Hoopla and stuff, or is it for like all ages, like not kindergartners, but like elementary school through like high school and stuff?
So yeah, Hoopla actually has everything. Has everything for everybody. There's no age restrictions on it. You can find everything from Big Nate and Captain Underpants to just like the most adult of comic books, if that's what you're looking for. By that I mean like the Batman where he's running around killing people, or I don't know.
Sandman series.
I don't really watch. Yeah, that's on there. Sandman series. That's another thing I like about Hoopla is actually most places you either get Marvel or DC. Hoopla has both Marvel, DC, and a lot of like Dark Horse and other smaller comic books and graphic novel publishers. Because usually it's like Pepsi and Coke at a restaurant. You get one or the other. So Hoopla's really good about that.
But now we got some RC
so
Cola.
There's no age restriction. I say hop in there, search, find something that jumps out at you, check it out, read it, or listen to it, because they also do audiobooks and they do music.
Audiobooks are
I just re-downloaded Lizzo's Because I Love You for like the 4th week in a row. because I don't want to buy it, but I want to listen to it.
Cool. Anyone
Because
else
I'm
in
a
there have
horrible
questions for John this morning? You're all good? John, throw us that website. Where do these cats need to go to see all these wonderful things?
So the website is anchorageLibrary.org, or you can just Google Anchorage Public Library. That will also get you there. One more thing I almost forgot to mention. So all the things I told you guys today have apps as well. So if you look up Overdrive slash, I think Libby is the other name for it. You're trying to transition to a different app. If you look up Overdrive or Libby, or if you look up Freegal, or if you look up Hoopla, wherever you get your apps from, either the Apple Store or Google Play or the guy in the corner, wherever you get, I don't judge, wherever you get your apps from, they all have apps and they're all wonderful.
And if you are getting your apps from a guy on the corner, you should really rethink how you get your digital technologies.
Yeah, look at your life, look at your choices.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, John, for joining us. You are welcome to stick around on the Den. We really appreciate it. Those of you watching at home, check out the Anchorage Public Libraries to see what's available to you. It's pretty amazing what has been done in order to help people continue learning and bettering themselves. We have this wonderful time where we can all kind of Ben Franklin and pick something new to learn each day. Wake up in the morning. What am I going to do today? Go to bed at night. What have I done today? We can get into that kind of mentality while locked up in our homes, drinking our coffee, wearing shirts, eating potato chips, and figuring out how to manage when to wear the shirt and when to eat the potato chips, because time is the essence. Moving over, Dr. Allman, how are we doing today?
Doing well. Continuing to get through the distance model. I think the big thing now that electives came back last week is trying to find a new balance and routine where hopefully most of the work can get done in an efficient way. We are going to try to start tracking the level of engagement for students so that we can at least reach out to those students who may be having access issues or who have not logged in. So if you are out there listening and have not logged in, I'd encourage you to do so. Interact with your teacher on Canvas or even in Zoom if you have that capability to check in, because I think that will help us stay socially connected. It seems to me that that's starting to have a pretty heavy toll on most of us. Even if we are introverts, it's nice to have some human connection and conversation. And so it's a safe space, and hopefully can get questions answered and just connect that way. The other big thing that is going to start happening this week and next week is we are beginning to gather all of students' belongings. It's going to take a while to organize because we have quite a few lockers. So one entire side of the building needs to be opened up, packaged, labeled, and alphabetized basically, so that when we begin the pickup process, which should happen in about 2 weeks or a week and a half, I guess, that we can quickly take items to parents and students as they arrive. So please do be looking out for more information about how those pickups are going to be divided. So there will be kind of a window of time in the morning or afternoon to come and pick up items. And if you can stay in that window, that's great. If not, we'll figure out a way to make sure you get your stuff back. And that would include musical instruments, PE clothing, and anything that was in your hallway locker. And then the other thing that more information will be arriving about is if you have textbooks at home or you took them home with you before spring break, or you have other items that belong to the school and need to be returned, you can also bring those back to us at the same time that you pick up your personal items. So that's the big push right now going on in the background. The reason that it's starting this week is that the elementary schools are finishing up their tech handout, and we needed to wait for the resources, transportation, personnel, and all of those things to make this belongings distribution work. So please continue to have patience with us. We'll communicate very, very soon about when those pickup windows will happen. And hopefully we can get everyone's belongings back to them. So I think that's really kind of it for now. I know on my blog, I posted a little bit about graduation. I think The school board and the superintendent, along with upper division leadership, are currently identifying the plan for graduation. I know there's a lot of anxiety about that and a lot of questions, but I think we'll be getting some information by midweek. There is a board meeting tonight, so I suspect that that's going to be one of the items on the list, because the school board does need to kind of sanction whatever the plan is going to be, since we don't have the SOLE available to us on the normal dates. So there will be lots more information to come about that, and I'll get it out there as soon as I receive it.
Cool. Thank you, Dr. Allman. That is awesome. We do have some questions that have definitely come in via southvote.com. I think Claire is going to jump on that today. Claire, are you handling the questions from Southvote?
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's only 3. First one is, why are there so many cars parked at the school?
So when it was determined that we were not going to be returning to school, the school district rented our parking lot to the rental car companies, or a rental car company. As you might imagine, with travel being greatly reduced, there are so many cars that they rent that would normally never be in their garage that now have to be stored somewhere. So they are renting that space from us. So there is no secret party inside the school. It's just rental cars that are being stored there because they are not in use.
Okay. Can seniors send grad announcements to teachers? Is there a way to do that?
That's a really good question. Our mail has been held by the post office like it normally is in the summer. And so it's possible if you sent it directly to the school that it would be held. So I don't have a good answer for how to get that mail routed directly to them, unless for some reason you had their personal address. But I can try to gather some information about how the mail is being routed and how we might be able to receive those. Because at some point in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be at school. At least small teams of folks are going to be at school doing the packing for the belongings. And so we would have the capability of receiving them, but I'll look into it.
Okay, cool. Last one. So Service has soccer nets up on their field. And somebody is wondering if South can put soccer nets up because kids need healthy outdoor activities where they can socially distance.
Yeah, so I totally agree that outdoor activity is a great way to kind of keep your mind at rest, especially when we have kind of higher levels of anxiety and social disconnection. But the fact that all Anchorage School District playgrounds have been shut down implies to me very heavily that we should not be doing anything to encourage people to gather in spaces. That's not to say that people probably haven't been using school grounds to walk dogs and, be with families. The other thing is, keeping those nets up was always obviously a priority when we had soccer season, but we would normally take them down just to protect them from wear and tear when South teams weren't using them. So I get that a field is not the same as a playground necessarily, but it does have the tendency to create the conditions under which people would gather in larger groups. And I'm just not in a position to do anything that's contrary to the state level public health officials guidance, which is that we need to maintain distance and continue to do so. So while it's possible for 1 to 4 people maybe to be on that field, especially if they're in the same family, I just don't want to set the conditions where we could be seen to be encouraging large groups to gather. So
makes sense to me. I don't have any other questions from Southvote.
And it doesn't look like there's anything going in the chat by the shaking of the head of Mr. Pernich in his glowing neck right there. It's kind of like a shiny rainbow beard happening. It's fantastic. So nothing from the chat there, Mr. Pernich? He's just shake the head. That's fine.
No, the questions that came up have been answered.
Cool. And does anyone else have anything for the good of the order today? All right. So folks out there at home, make sure you're checking out the Anchorage Public Library, seeing some of the assets that we have there. And also, make sure that you are taking the time to get outdoors on one way or another, because it does allow you to get there. But that outdoors doesn't mean going out and throwing a bunch of, like phlegm and mucus while playing sports and things like that. I will say before we sign off for the day, look, people are having a rough time with the things that are going on right now. And we're feeling alone and we're feeling locked up. And some of us really, really, really need the ability to see our friends and hug our friends and tell them we love them. And we're feeling lonely, and it's starting to kind of grate on some people. And we don't really know. It's this weird space where do we listen to what we're supposed to listen to or do we don't? And how do that just, what a weird time we're all living through right now. And I think the thing that I want you to go away with today is that we're all living through this. Yes, we're all living through this in some ways alone, but we're all experiencing this together. When I say we all, I don't just mean the South community. I don't just mean Anchorage. I mean the world, you guys. The world is asking these questions right now. The world is feeling the way you're feeling right now. You are not alone in the fact that you are alone. And if it's been a while since you have, I think today's a really good day. I've wanted to talk about this the last few shows. Grab your phone, roll through your contacts. If you see someone in there you haven't talked to since this all started rolling, maybe it's time to give some people a call. The other day I called a couple friends I haven't talked to in about 6 months. It was really good to talk to them. It was good to catch up. It was good to hear that on the other side of the country and other side of the planet, people were dealing with some of the same frustrations and tensions that we're dealing with here. So pick up your phone, call someone you haven't talked to in a while, ask them how they're doing, and then let them ask you how you're doing and answer it honestly. Because you know what? All that stuff we used to take advantage of keeping everything inside, to put on that mask, so to speak, so that no one really knew who the real person is, none of that matters anymore. This is the best way we can find each other and know that we're all human and we're all in this together. So with no further ado, I will quit yapping and I will let you go do all of your courses and all of your office hours and all of your phone calls to friends you need to talk to. Thanks for joining us. Keep your paws clean and your claws sharp, Wolverines.